campers, and welcome to day 2 of Messy Art. Today we are going to be focusing on nature. So a couple of things to get started. I wanted to show you that yesterday's stuff is all nice and dry now, ready for stage 2. We're going to work on these things tomorrow so that everything has a chance to really get dry. But I know that I'm doing okay because my bowl will sit flat on the table. So I am ready for phase 2 on that one. All right, so today we are going to be making seed bombs, and we are going to be dyeing fabric using flowers. So you should have gotten, when you got your bag of supplies, you should have gotten a bag that has these shredded bits of white paper, right? And the directions were in the email that you put those in water as soon as you got them and just let them sit. So I have mine here that I've got, that I've been letting soak here. I also took some of the little shredded papers. You have a bundle of them in your bag, and I cut those up too. Now we also can be using food dye, so it's your choice. If you're going to use these, make sure you cut them up really small so that they have enough time to break down a little bit before we get started. You should also have in the freezer right now some flowers that you picked. If you didn't, you can use fresh. I've got some of both so that we can see how those look, and that's for the next thing. So first you're gonna get all set up. I have my bowl of shredded paper soaking in water. I have another bowl ready to get the wood pulp, and I have my strainer that I'm gonna use to strain the water off of my wood pulp. Okay, so I couldn't give everybody a blender, so you need to use your own. If you don't have a blender, you can use a food processor. And the reason that what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this paper that's been soaking, and we're going to blend it up and return it back to being wood pulp. All paper is made of wood pulp, and then they use this stuff called sizing, which kind of holds it better together and it makes it stronger, because wood pulp paper just on its own is kind of fragile. But we're not going to be using it for paper. We're going to be using it as a foundation for wildflower seeds, which didn't make it on the list, but they did make it into your bag. So you have a package of wildflower mix from So True Seeds. Great store, local institution. You should go there if you ever need seeds. So I have my shredded paper that's been soaking, and now I'm going to start making wood pulp. And I'm going to put some, about a cup, so you didn't go very high up, of the soaking paper. I'm going to pour some of this water, making sure that you want to have a fair amount of water, so the water should come up about halfway. Make sure you put the top on, okay? And it's going to be loud. Here we go. There we go. About a cup of paper. Ugh, it sticks. A cup is about a good handful. And I'm going to fill it up halfway with water. Put the top on. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stop. Your blender or your food processor should be going real smooth, like there shouldn't be any jumps in the I was going to call it dough, in the mix. It shouldn't be, hopping like it did at the beginning. You heard it go thump, thump, thump. Yeah, you don't want that. You want it to be super smooth. And then when you pour it out, stir it around. pressing all that out. And then I really want to squeeze out as much water as you can. And the reason why you want to squeeze out as much water as you can is because we're going to be mixing wildflower seeds into this, and we don't want them to germinate yet. So while they're going to get wet, we're not going to leave them wet for too long. So you really want to get out as much water as you can. Okay. Now you should do this until you've pretty much used up all your paper. I kind of had too much. I got excited. So I'm going to put this aside now, and we're going to move on to the second stage. So for the second stage, what you need to do is you need to clean up your area before we move on. All right? So I'm just going to set aside, oh, where am I setting this aside? I'm going to set aside that bowl that has the leftover shredded water, and I'm going to set aside my blender, and I'll finish that later. Okay, I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to put that away. And now what I have are my cookie cutters, my seeds, and some food coloring. Now, if you decide to use food coloring, you kind of need to pick one color. Otherwise, it's going to get all blended in. And I'm getting my cookie tray, which I forgot. So, yeah, I forgot. You need to have a cookie tray. That's on your list, but I forgot to get it out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, since I already have kind of pink color on my thing, I am going to add a little bit of yellow and see if I can't get a nice orange. Oh. Teeth are not tools. So I'm going to put a little bit of... Now, you know what this is going to do to me? I'm going to have yellow hands. But that's okay. So I'm going to start mushing and mixing my food coloring into my paper mush. Blech. Now, once I've got it all mixed up and I'm happy with the color, and I am, it's kind of a nice apricot. That'll look nice. If you have enough bowls, you could mix it, like you could have a little section that you mix some red dye into it or green dye, but I'm just gonna keep it all this nice apricot color. Okay, now I have my mush. It's time for the seeds. So you take your packet of So True seeds and you open that up. Make sure you check the top because sometimes they like to hide. Yep, there's seeds up there. I want all the seeds. And you dump your seeds. Sprinkle them all over. And then you're going to mix it again. Making sure that you get all those seeds nice and mushed in there. Now, I told you, right, that we are using water, but that we're going to want to get the most water out because we don't want the seeds to germinate until we're ready to plant them. So, now comes the forming of your seed bombs. Now, you take a little piece, and really it's small. See? Not very big. That's all you need. And I'm going to squeeze it in my hand. I'm gonna squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it until I've got as much water as I can get out of it. And you're gonna see that now I have a little meatball. That's my seed bomb. I want to keep them small because I want them to dry as quickly as possible. So now water's not our friend, okay? So I'm gonna keep these going. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of meatballs, but I'm gonna show you also, you can use your cookie cutters to make, squeeze as hard as you can. I don't know if you can see it, but my hands are turning yellow. All right, so I have a heart and a star. Most of you have hearts and stars, okay? So now I'm gonna take the same size that I used before, that little clump, and I'm gonna put it inside the cookie cutter. Oh, wait, I have to squeeze it first. Squeeze, squeeze. So squeeze it out as much as you can, and then I'm gonna put it inside the cookie cutter and I'm gonna smash it out. And it's gonna take on, now the cookie cutters are a little bit bigger, but they're gonna be, the dough is gonna be thinner, so you can use a little bit more to make sure that you get it filled in. So as you can see, I filled in the heart with the mush, and then I just carefully press it out onto the cookie tray. There are my meatballs, and there's my heart, and I can do the star one too. Squeeze out the dough. The star, I don't know if this is going to work so well. Let's see what happens. It's hard to get the, use your mat to press it down. Get it into every little edge. You want to get it all into every little nook and cranny of that star. So you have to use your fingers to press it in. Then, once you have that done, carefully, carefully, carefully. Ooh, this is tricky. You have to be patient. Push one point of the star and then move to the next one. And push, and push. See, I'm just gently pushing it out one at a time. Ooh! Oh, isn't that cool? Ooh, look at that. Can you see it? Woohoo! Oh, I like those the best. That's a lot of work, but I like that one the best. So you can give these to relatives for gifts, like a little bag of these as a happy Grandpa's Day or Father's Day. I know if we already had Father's Day, so it's kind of late for that one. But, you know, if your dad likes wildflowers, this would be a great time to make him one. Also, once they're dry, they will keep. So if you have a birthday coming up in August and you'd like to give somebody these as a birthday present, you certainly can hang on to them for that long. They don't go bad. If you were to hold on to them all the way to next spring, you don't know. But some of these will be quite happy to bloom in the fall, even though they may be spring flowers. It's just when you get planted. Remember that when you do plant them, you need to water it every day until they sprout. Once they sprout, they're kind of okay to do their own thing. And then, once you're done with this, we're going to move on to our next nature-inspired messy art project. Well, it is kind of messy, actually. So I'm going to make one more star, and then I'm going to stop for now. If you need to stop the video so that you can finish, certainly feel free to do so. This is for you to use as you need it. I put too much in. Take some out. Now my work mat is a sheet of newspaper, and it's doing a really good job of absorbing the water. So if you feel like you'd like to press your cookies onto some newspaper, you probably have a little bit extra left over from yesterday's project. Or a paper towel. The star is definitely the tricky one. You gotta go around those points, pressing a little bit every time. Ooh, that one didn't come out as good. It's a little wobbly. That's okay. You can tell it's a star, that's all that matters. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna clean up and get ready for number 2. Okay, we're back. I've cleared my area and I'm ready for the next project. So the next project is dyeing fabric using real flowers. So I gave everybody 4 pieces of fabric. 2 of them have a circle drawn on them and 2 of them do not. And the reason why is because you can make a pillow, or you can make a pin cushion, or you can make both. If you want to make a pin cushion, you're going to use the fabric that has the circle on it, because that's the sew lines. If you want to make a pillow, just leave it as it is. So you're going to need the piece of wood that's in your bag. You're going to need to get a hammer. Borrow one from your parents or a next door neighbor. Everybody has a hammer somewhere. A small hammer is fine because we're going to be doing a lot of pounding and it kind of is heavy. So I have a nice little hammer that I use for small repairs, and I chose that one instead of my big fat one. Now, I have gone outside and gathered a whole bunch of flowers. I have a mullein pink. I have, this is bee balm. I have a pansy, and I'm really excited about this one because it has 2 colors, and I'm wondering how this is going to go. I have a little dandelion. In Italian, they call them dente di leone, which means lion's teeth, and I thought that was cute. I also have, okay, so here's the interesting thing. I am at school, and I had gotten flowers for my birthday, and so I put the flowers, I took some of the flowers and I put them in the freezer. And so here's a carnation. And then here is something that used to be like super dark purple, but they thawed out on the way to school. And after it thawed out, the purple was gone. When I took them out of the freezer this morning to come to school, this was purple. So if it didn't work, well, I think it was, you got to do it while they're still frozen, and mine are no longer frozen. I have a petunia. I have these sweet little purple things. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I also got some mint leaves. You can use mint leaves, or you can go get some grass, but that's going to lend that natural thing. I like using the mint because when you pound it, it smells really good. All right, so I am going, here's my piece of wood. Here's my fabric. I'm going to start well, I'm going to start with these little purple things because, like I said, they're so cute and I want to see what happens with them. So I'm going to pick them carefully off their stems. I'm going to kind of smush them down just a little bit, just so that I know that when I lay the fabric over them, they're going to be facing up. All right? I'm going to lay the fabric over them. And then I'm going to take my hammer and I'm just going to start not whacking on them, but, you know, with some purpose. As I hammer, I'm starting to see a little bit of color coming up. Now these were so squee, I don't know if they're going to work. But you see where the wet is? That's the moisture releasing from the flour. And now as I lift it up, okay, so now I'm going to do another one. I'm going to use this two-toned yellow and purple pansy. Again, I'm going to lay the fabric down. And I'm just going to start tapping. Ooh. That came out cool. Now, I'm not going to worry about the flour on the back because that's going to peel off. So we're just going to ignore that. I need to clean off my my wood. It's got flour glue on it. I'm just going to scrape that off there. Okay. Now, I want to put some more on this one. Let's see. Ooh. Let's have a mullen in here too. So I pull it off a stem, and I only want this part of it. Another trick that, like the mullen, it has this long bit where the seeds form. I can cut that off so that my flour will sit more flat. If I use the right hand. Lay it down, get that green bit out. I'm putting all of these on one cloth because it's gonna look cool when I put them all together. Now that one, because it was kind of thick, flopped about a bit. But that's okay. I'm leaving that on the back for now. That worked really well though. Probably the thicker the leaves, the more natural pigment are in them. That's why the little purple ones didn't work. I'm gonna put a green leaf on here. Just to add a little panache. Ooh, I like that. So when we're done with all of our flowers, and I gotta do the Dente di Leone. You're gonna set these aside. One of the tricks is to spray it with a little bit of vinegar, but I couldn't send vinegar with you guys, so I did not. But you probably have some vinegar in your house. Oops, I cut it too. I wonder what that's gonna do. Well, the Dente di Leone went all over the place. Let's try it again without cutting off the stem. I gave you enough paper so that you can, enough cloth so you can play around with these and see what happens. Now, again, you can spray them with a little bit of vinegar to help set the dyes. These will fade over time. It's just the nature of natural things. But they'll still look cool and old-fashioned-y. And then, like I said, this is another thing that... So now don't worry about the plant goo on the back. Just leave it there. All right? And we're gonna let these dry. So just like you have a space for your watercolor paper and your balloon, we're just gonna lay these out here on the table in front of us, and we're just let them dry. And then, just like all things, it's time to clean up. So make sure that you're composting as much as you can, and all your plant scraps go into the compost. And if you don't have a compost, just put them in the trash. Yeah, so that's Tuesday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.